Thank you so much, and thank you for this lovely introduction. As usual, it's always a pleasure. So yes, so when Gunsu explained to me that with the changes of the groups, we thought, okay, let's make something special while we still have this group as a local group. And I thought I'd prepare a series on visualizations to give you as well some practice, which is, as Gunsu said, which is not very usual. I'm usually more sharing about my insights and my experience. And I thought, okay, let's make it very special and create those series of 3 talks on the power of visualization, giving as well a practice at the end. So bear with us until the end of the presentation for a little practice. And after we close the recording, we'll open up for questions and shares. So it'll be great to have your impression, also your maybe what you've experienced also in the visualization. So it's going to be more specifically today on the power of explore. So the visualization will be on the theme of exploring and what we can learn, additional things that we can learn to understand something better, to have a better outlook on things, and maybe sometimes challenges or problems that we could be facing. So before we dive in, I'm gonna just introduce myself briefly for those who don't know me. I'm a coach, Clem, and I'm a certified coach. And my area of expertise is to help individuals with the calling to help others create the business that they are craving for. So typically, these are people that have the calling to become a therapist or a coach or a teacher or wellness professional or other services. And they've usually have had that calling to help others for a very, very long time. And they knew from very early on in their life that they wanted to do something that has an impact on others, serving them, helping them. And what we do together, so what I work with them on, is to strengthen their mindset and this inner balance, this foundation on which they can build this new life a lot stronger, a lot more resilient. I work also with them on getting the clarity on their needs and their goals. And of course, we create together the vision, the roadmap, and the strategy to reach those business goals and to succeed. So just a few elements about me, about where I'm come from. I'm from France, coming to you tonight from the UK, where I live now. I lived in so many different countries, in India and Colombia and Spain. So I am a big expat, and internations is really my home, and that really defines me so well. Initially, my first career was in teaching, which enabled me to also to travel the world and to teach languages. Then I created a first business, which was a bilingual nursery in France. And while I was doing that, I also did some deep work on myself and transition to coaching to be able to share also my experience of life and business to benefit others. So I feel really aligned in what I do with my past experience and my present now. So the power of visualizations. So what I wanted to share with you is actually what happens at the brain level and why we might need those visualization to help us. And I really like this quote by Einstein. I wanted to start with that in this presentation. And Einstein says that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. And we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And this is a very, very interesting reminder and explanation also of what happens at the brain level. As you have heard, if we simplify, we're not neuroscientists here, so or if there are, please let me know and complete my knowledge. But if we want to simplify what happens in the brain, we know that on the left side of the brain, we've got the more rational, logical, that we tend to focus on as a society. We know that school is more focused on hard skills, is more focused on science, on logic, etc. And we also have the right side of the brain. Right side of the brain is where typically creativity and passion and calm and other sorts of skills that can be more like soft skills that live on the left side of the brain. And what Einstein really describes really well, and I like to use him as an example because he's a genius and he's definitely a great scientist. So we could trust him, no, on that, not being someone that doesn't want the rational aspects of things. And what he's describing, I believe, is really about how to work with both sides of the brain, how to really rebalance things and to also train your right side of the brain, not only being focused on the left side that we have naturally and historically with our culture be more trained on. And we are all born with unique personalities and qualities, and we tend to sometimes overuse some of the great qualities that we have. And that can lead to sabotage, to self-sabotage. And that also is a result of having too much of a focus on your brain on the left side of the brain, which is also where the inner critic lives. And that's also a form of sabotage. So what we can do then is to reprogram the brain, to work on a very, very deep level to reprogram the brain. I'm doing this amazing training by Positive Intelligence, which is a coaching training created by Shazad Shamin, who's an amazing coach and bestseller author. And he's using some techniques. There are plenty of techniques available there. You've probably heard of NLP and hypnosis and meditation and all others that really work to reprogram the brain. And what this particular technique does is it works into creating new neural pathways into your brain to actually strengthen also the right side of the brain so that they can work together, not having one side that's stronger than the other and sort of overcoming the other side. And this creates a better balanced brain, more happiness, more a better ability to function, a better operational system, basically. And in that program, they work around 3 different core muscles, so 3 different steps. So I'm just going to tell you just very briefly and explaining to you what it means, because I think it's an interesting thing to consider within the work of with visualization. So the first step is the saboteur interceptor muscle, which is basically becoming aware of the sabotage that is internally happening for you and how it happens. So becoming aware of the inner critic, becoming aware of the different way your personality can be overcompensating, overusing certain strength and creating sabotage. That's the first step, the awareness. The second step is the self-command muscle that appears here at the third step. But I want to mention it now because it's the ability to command your brain, train to focus your attention on something different from the sabotage that you identified and you've become aware of, so that you can move to the sage perspective, which is the second step. And the sage is what we're going to be building also with this visualization. So we are programming something new to replace this sabotage that is happening internally. And the sage is basically the true essence of who you really are. So by accessing the sage, we access a lot more who we are, going further and beyond the inner critics and the different aspects of our personality that can be sabotage. Yeah. So we don't have time to go further than that into this topic with this presentation. But if you're interested in knowing more, just let me know, and I can recommend you some resources that are really interesting about that. So how does visualization work? So we're really at the stage of, as I said, of reprogramming the brain, and how does that impact us? Well, I've got another quote here that I really like by Henry Ford: "Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right." This is how much of a self-fulfilling prophecy things are in life. And the reason of that is that sometimes in life we tend to have a tunnel vision about things. So it's a very sort of limited perception, and that really creates a limiting perception of our reality. And typically this is when we are focusing on what is wrong, on what is not going the way that we would want. And that really is creating this, literally the tunnel vision is not making us being able to access things that could be further our horizons. And sometimes they're not far, sometimes they're just in front of our eyes. But if we really have this tunnel vision right into place, it's like filters. Some other people would say colored glasses, right? This is the same idea. They make you actually see similar things and not necessarily open up your horizon to also other opportunities and other solutions that can be actually very close to you. So the analogy that I really like, that I think really works, and what we want to build instead of that tunnel vision is actually the ability to surf the wave. I love the analogy of surfing here. Because the waves of life and the things that change and the things that come and the things that go are not going to stop. That we know that's that's something that's going to be there forever, right? This is probably one of the only constant in life, change. So the waves are going to come. So instead of blaming the waves for coming, we learn to surf. We grow our resilience. We grow our inner power, and we don't rely so much on the outside. We have this inner stability that enables us actually to stand on that board and to actually being able to enjoy also the ride there. So with the visualization, we are getting more and more access to that right part of the brain, to that rebalancing between the left and the right, and to who we truly are, and that being that is actually able to have a better resilience and to serve the waves. To illustrate the idea of your essence, of who you truly are, because I thought that maybe that's not so easy to grasp for some people. I wanted to tell you a little story there about how you can access that. It's more of a analogy, metaphoric story to illustrate that I quite like. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Golden Buddha story. And it actually is, it's a story that has happened. So it's a real story. So in 1957, an entire monastery in Thailand was being relocated by a group of monks. So they were moving a monastery, a temple, from one location to another. And in the process of that, they were moving a giant clay Buddha. And one of the monks noticed actually a large crack in the clay. And it was the first time that actually this Buddha was taken outdoors, so the light inside was not so great. So they were seeing like this crack, and getting a closer look, they could actually see a golden light emanating from the crack. So they got curious and started to get a hammer and a chisel and try to chip away really gently at the clay exterior just to see what that was about. And what they actually revealed is that underneath that layer of clay, there was a pure gold Buddha. And this statue was thought to be built actually in the 13th century. And they're not exactly sure exactly at what date that was. And it was revered by Buddhists for many hundreds of years. And in the 16th century, actually, the Burmese army was invading Thailand at the time. And they were burning everything that they were coming across. They were completely destroying everything that were on their way. And so the monks of the temple knew that they were coming. And to prevent them from stealing the golden Buddha, because they probably would have, they decided to cover quite quickly with a layer of clay to make it still a Buddha, still something precious and maybe too monumental to destroy or to move, but hiding the preciousness of the gold so that it wouldn't be taken by the army. And it worked. And all the monks were actually killed by this army that was absolutely merciless. And so no one was there to actually witness it, to explain that we've covered this golden Buddha out of a layer of clay. And the historians were able to go back to this with the researcher, were able to go back and to discover what actually happened. And it's 5 tons of gold, approximately worth the 250 million in gold. It's just a beautiful metaphor, right, of how we maybe pile ourselves layers of clay over our own golden Buddha internally. And that is, that's something that happens because of external influences, maybe what happened in your childhood and in our society and governments and all sorts of events that makes us create those projections that gradually become sort of obstacles as well for us to access who we truly are, for us to access what's precious inside of us. But the good news is that we can remove that layer of clay and we can work on it and gradually access more and more and learn to remember. I really like this sentence actually too. It's about remembering who we truly are. It's not about discovering it, because we were already that when we were born. So we're remembering it. We're coming back to our true nature. And for that, we need to really retrain our mind and access a different way of functioning at this brain level. So this is what we're going to be doing with this visualization together. So you'll have some training, and in this program, Positive Intelligence, we talk about mental fitness. So it's like going to the gym. You're training your brain. You're focusing your attention. You're gradually growing those muscles. Because it's not natural for us. What is natural for us is more the sabotage. That is actually a very natural process as well. The creation of the ego, something that starts happening very early on in life. So we train ourselves, we build those muscles so that we can access a different way of living as well, and a different level of happiness for sure. So we're going to start this visualization together by doing some mental fitness reps. So they are going to give us the ability to access gradually this right side of the brain for us, and access this calmer, deeper state of consciousness. So so they are basically training us to the idea of those mental fitness reps are to invite us to focus on body perceptions. So maybe you have done already some meditation techniques, or maybe some mindfulness techniques that are similar. So the idea is focusing. I'm training my brain rather than to get lost in negative comments or this tunnel vision that I described. Training my brain to come back, training my brain to focus onto my body sensation, onto what I can hear, onto what I can see, etc. So the different senses basically. And the amazing ability I found of Positive Intelligence is to really provide some really simple exercise and very, very short that enables you to come back. Let's say you've had a busy meeting and you're a bit all over the place. You can really use those exercises, and that takes the minimum, it's 10 seconds to really come back to here, to build this resilience and being able to bounce forward to do something else. So the explore visualization. So it's going to be a short version of it to give you a little taste. So we're going to start, as I said, by those little fitness reps, what we call mental fitness reps, and then I'm going to take you into this explore visualization. So the idea is really to get you more clarity into a situation that you don't really understand or that confuses you. So you can already start to bring that to your awareness, bring that to your mind. Think about something, a situation, a problem, a challenge that confuses you. You don't really understand. You don't understand why some people would act like this, or why would this happen, and the game we are playing with Explore is actually to be a fascinated anthropologist. So we completely get rid of the judgment and we're exploring, just like a kid who's on the beach and just looking under every rock that he can see. There's no agenda. There's no judgment of right and wrong. There's just, oh, what's there? I'm exploring. And the point of that is also to help you maybe see and go further than this tunnel vision. by this tunnel vision, as we said, we're limiting our perception. And sometimes when we look at a situation or a problem and we are like that, we are missing out on all those aspects. So the idea here is to actually try to access these different aspects. So be very relaxed, be very comfortable. Some people have very clear vision and they see very clear things when they do visualization. For some people, it's a bit more blurred and things come and go. That's absolutely normal. That's absolutely fine. There is no right or wrong way to do it. The intention of accessing that part of you is enough. So just let yourself relax. Don't try to get it right or get it wrong. Just go with the flow. Just follow whatever comes to you. The idea is to we're not trying to create the vision. We are opening ourselves up to let things come to our awareness. Yeah. So we're going to start the visualization. So you can now turn off your camera. I'm going to turn my camera off as well to be able to guide you into this visualization. So you just take the time that you need to find a comfortable seat. Have your back straight, your feet on the floor if you can. And you're just going to start with becoming aware of your whole body. And taking a moment maybe to draw your silhouette, just becoming aware of the outside of your body. If you had a pen or a pencil and you were to draw your silhouette all around you, just very gently take your time, go around your head, your right shoulder, your right arm, maybe your hand, the side of your body on the right, down to your hip, your right leg, all the way to your toes. Back in the inside of your right leg, and then gradually down your left leg, all the way to your toes. And now you're going back up on the left side of your body, starting with your leg, your hip, your torso, going down on your left arm, up to your hand and your fingers, and all the way up to your neck and to the top of your head. And just take a moment to visualize your body as a whole. You can become aware of the space around you. Don't need to open your eyes, but just become aware of the space you're sitting in. Just notice the space where your body is sitting. Now I want you to become aware of sounds. See if you can hear some sounds in the background. Maybe on the road outside. Maybe the neighbors. Just welcome any sound that you can hear in the background. And now become aware of the closest sound that you can hear. Can be the sound of my voice. Closest sounds maybe in the room that you're sitting in. And maybe your own breathing. Hear your own breathing now. Now that you're paying attention to your breath, pay closer attention to the sensation of the air coming out your nostrils and the sensation of the air coming in your nostrils. Notice that gentle caress. Now you can notice maybe the temperature of the air as it comes in and the temperature of the air as it comes out your nostrils. See if you can notice the difference in the temperature. Now you can become aware of your chest and stomach gently falling and rising with each breath. Just notice the natural rhythm of your breath. Noticing how your chest and stomach gently rise and gently falls. And from this deep, relaxed state, I'm going to invite you to visualize a situation that confuses you, that you don't really understand, a situation you would like to get clarity on. So just gently see what comes to your attention. Gently bringing to mind the situation you want to explore. And you can start by noticing the settings. What comes to you when you bring to mind this situation? Is it a scene outside? Is it inside? Is there a place that represents this situation? And become very curious about watching what presents itself to you. Become curious and just watch, observe around you. What can you see? Can you see any objects or material things that require your attention? Just be very attentive and open to seeing details, things maybe you have missed in the past. Being curious and fascinated about what you discover. Having no judgment, no agenda. Take another look around, looking at the place, the landscape, maybe if it's outdoors, the room if it's indoors. Who do you see in this situation? Do you see anyone that is involved? Take your time to observe. Maybe discover persons that are involved in this situation that you weren't aware of. Just taking your time. If you encounter a particular person that is very relevant to the situation, you can focus on that person and take your time to observe with great attention the posture, maybe the eyes, the face, becoming aware of the expression, maybe the emotions. You're collecting as many information as you can to get clarity on this situation. If there's another person that is very relevant to that situation, you can move on to this other person and be very curious. What's happening for that person in this situation? What's their point of view, their emotion, their perception of that situation? You're going to bring yourself as well to the situation. Imagining yourself standing in that scene, or maybe imagining a mirror appearing in front of you, and being very curious as well. What's happening for you there? Are you aware of everything that is happening for you in this situation? What's your perception? Be curious and see if there are things that you want to become aware of that needs your attention. Take a moment to notice your eyes, your face, as it appears to you in the visualization. the emotions, the energy possibly. Excellent. Now that you've explored in details a lot of those different aspects, you're going to take a step back. You're going to leave that scene and just take a few step backs, maybe stand on the hill to get a little bit of perspective away from that scene and that situation where you've seen the scenery, the people, yourself, just getting a bit of perspective there. Now that you can see things from a higher ground, maybe you can see maybe how things articulate each other, the different parts, the different aspects of the situation. And be open and explore and maybe see if there are some blind spots you haven't seen before. What can you see from higher ground? Take a moment to notice and see if there are other things that you want to pay attention to. And I'd like you to consider those questions. Just see what presents itself to you, not forcing anything. What is important here? What is important in this situation? What have I learned from my exploration? What have I learned from my exploration? And what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? Very, very gently, you're going to let go of what came up to you, what was presented to you, and reconnect to your breathing. Noticing the gentle falling and rising of our chest or stomach. Observing the natural rhythm. We're not doing anything, we're just observing. Observing the magic of breathing. Now you're going to bring all your attention to your toes. Try to find as many as your toes as you can. Wiggle them, wiggle your toes, move your toes if you need to. Becoming aware of them. And gradually move your feet. Move your feet very gently. You can start to move your hands, coming back into your body, coming back into the room that you are in. Very gently stretching, moving, slowly getting back into this seat where you are. Taking all the time you need to come back and open your eyes and come back on video. Being very, very gentle and easy with yourself. While you're doing that, I'm gonna put my video on again and just share a few details with you if you wish to get in touch with me. Put a link in the chat if you wish to book a one-to-one session so we can have a chat about your personal situation. So I hope you enjoyed this little taste of visualization. As I said again, it's a short version. When we know more about a more specific situation, of course, we can tailor that visualization to make it correspond a lot more to what's happening for you. And yeah, we're going to close the recording and go to the Q&A now.